Hello everyone. Today I will publish an article named A Study on the Relationship between Organizational Communication, Trust, and Job Performance of Test Officials. The author is Soon-Bok. Smooth communication within the organization has a positive effect on the behavior of the members of the organization, which contributed to the improvement of the job performance of the organization. The tax administration organization is working through the cooperation between the hierarchical order system and the department between positions. So, the organizational communication process is important for the tax official to contribute on their duties and devote themselves to the organization. Cooperation between supervisor, subordinate, and colleagues within the tax administration organization is a basic step in the progress of the work, and the cooperation between departments is essential because the work should be carried out jointly between departments. In addition, as society has diversified, tax organizations have more to deal with various complex tasks, as accountability in the area of public affairs is emphasized more and more. Mutual exchange and contact between tax officials about information, attitude, and behavior are becoming more frequent. So, organizational communication is suggested as an element that forms interdependent relationships by sharing information, attitude, and behavior with each other, and influences individual and organization behavior to simultaneously improve individual and organization performance. Therefore, the organizational communication process induces positive mindset among the members of the organization, and it leads to the improvement of their performance, which ultimately increases the performance of job performance. Organizational contribution means the process of sharing information about the roles and authority of organizational members under the official hierarchical structures. So, it is divided into political communication between different classes according to the hierarchy of the organization and Horizontal communication between the same classes. Vertical communication consists of top-down communication and bottom-up communication. Bottom-up communication from subordinate to superior in an organization has problems and exceptions that arise as contents related to the work of the organization, such as reporting the performance of subordinates, presenting opinions, suggesting the points of improvement, reporting the performance, complaints, and conflicts under the hierarchy, and delivering financial and accounting information. Generally, organizations understand bottom-up communication as a described channel, but it is difficult to actively communicate upward because most organizations often tend to be bureaucratic. The top-down communication from the supervisor to the subordinate is the information and attitude of the boss in the organization by directing jobs to the subordinate and delivering the order. As a process of sharing behavior, it has the foundations of providing specific goals and strengthens instructions of work items and activities of the organization, procedure for delivering organization policies, rules, regulations, and arrangements, and feedback and injection on job performance. Top-down communication can be said to be general communication, but it can change or distort information, attitude, behavior in the process of communication, and it can be a burden and pressure on subordinates if it is done in the dormitory and authority of the superior. Horizontal communication is a process of sharing information, behavior, and attitude among organizational members based on equal status in the organization. It is hierarchical and open. It also performs appropriate regulatory foundations between civil action or department. Horizontal communication is a foundation of problem solving among members of the department, joint projects, and business cooperation between departments, and set up of initiatives and improvements that leads to changes, growth, and the process of the organization by sharing information within and outside the term or department. Therefore, horizontal communication is well performed, and the ability to solve problems and conflicted in the process of performing working is strengthened. Organizational communication and job performance are in a mutual relationship of influence. Organizational communication has a positive effect on job performance through customers' satisfaction and employee satisfaction through job satisfaction. In the activation of communication, the participation of workers through knowledge sharing and trust was analyzed by means of mediators, and it was confirmed that it has a positive effect on job performance of quality improvement. In other words, if communication is effectively performed in an organization, the efficiency of the members will increase and the job performance will be improved by effectively achieving the work through boosted merger. Communication solves interpersonal problems and matches members' behaviors to organizational goals, thereby strengthening members' mutual integration and having a critical impact on achieving organizational goals. In the past, text organizations were reached in that has strong top-down communication by orders, controls, and authority under strict bureaucracy, and the relationship between bosses and subordinates was strong. In addition, in order to solve the dysfunction of top-down communication, bottom-up communication, and horizontal communication, the voice of subordinate can be heard more closely, and the work between colleagues and departments is shared. Therefore, the influence of text officials on work performance and organizational life may be differently according to the type of organizational communication. In the text organization field, trust is defined as belief or acceptance about the possibility of acquiring described behavior. It is also defined as a generalized belief that you can trust positive evolution attitude and promise. The trust that the superior make to the subordinate has a positive effect on the trust on the superior, and as a result, it has a positive effect on the job satisfaction and job performance. Therefore, trust is a positive awareness of the other party, and the formation of trust is achieved through trust givers' positive awareness of the behavioral characteristics of the object of trust. This study examines how organizational communication affects the behavior of organizational members. Therefore, the purpose of this study is to verify the effect of text officials' organizational communication on job performance and to analyze the moderating effect of trust in the relationship between organizational communication and job performance. Based on the previous studies, the following hypotheses were set to investigate whether factors of organizational communication has a significant positive relationship on job performance and how organizational communication factors affect job performance by using trust as a moderating variable. Hypothesis 1 is organizational communication will have a positive effect on job performance. First is top-down communication will have a positive effect on job performance. Second is bottom-up communication will have a positive effect on job performance. The next one is horizontal communication will have a positive effect on job performance. Hypothesis 2 is trust will control the relationship between organizational communication and job performance. First is trust will regulate the relationship between top-down communication and job performance. Second is trust will regulate the relationship between bottom-up communication and job performance. Next is trust will control the relationship between horizontal communication and job performance. This study is accepted to be provided as basic data for performance management that can increase job performance more efficiently by text officials. Based on the collected data and the previous studies of this study, the research model of Figure 1 is present as follows. The sample of this study was collected from text officials working in Busan, Assam, thoroughly sticking to infectious disease prevention rules. Considering Corona in April 2021, a survey was conducted on 360 persons, and 333 copies of the data were used in this study, except 27 copies of the questionnaires of insincere answers. The surveys were conducted from April 5 to May 27, 2031, and the general demographic characteristics of the respondents are as shown in Table 1. This is Table 1. The questionnaire design of this study was used in the existing domestic and foreign studies, and the questionnaire was used with a 5-point Likert scale that gives a score at a regular interval from the lowest 1 to the highest 5 points. As operational definition of each variable, it was composed of questions divided into top-down communication, bottom-up communication, and horizontal communication based on the questions used in survey on the awareness of public service by Zhu Il-Huang to measure organizational communication factors. The questions of mere ability, consideration, and integrity were modified and used for trust, and the questions of the quantitative performance, qualitative performance, and work performance of Park Hye-sung and Lin Bai-chen were restricted and used for job performance. The result of factor analysis shows that all the scores used in measuring variables in Table 2 have appropriate convergence and discrepant variability. Also, the level of trust of each variable was generally high, and it was found that it is appropriate to use as an analysis in this study. This is Table 2. The correlation between the main variables is presented in Table 3. The top-down, bottom-up, and horizontal communication of organizational communication variables all shows a positive and significant relationship with job performance as a result variable, and exception management was found to have a low correlation with job performance. This is Table 3. As a result of the analysis, Model 1 is a regression model that sets up top-down, bottom-up, and horizontal communication as independent variables. The total exploratory power is 33%, which is statistically significant, and the exploratory power of Model 2, which put trust as a moderating variable, was found to be 38%, and the exploratory power increased 0.061 compared to Model 1, and the F value decreased by 1.721%, but it was satisfactorily significant. In other words, Model 2 showed that the job performance was well explained by putting trust variables. In Model 3, which was put in to confirm the interaction effect between organizational communication types and trust of tax officials, the modified imploratory power of the model was 38%, which was an increase by 0.014 compared to Model 2, and the F-value decreases by 21.062, but it was statistically significant. These results suggest that the interaction between organizational communication and trust is significant in explaining job performance. In the Model 2, top-down communication and horizontal communication had a significant positive effect on job performance, and trust had a significant positive effect on job performance. However, bottom-up communication was not significant. Therefore, the top-down communication and horizontal communication among organizational communication factors had a positive effect on job performance. So hypothesis 1 to 1 and hypothesis 1 to 3 were adopted, and hypothesis 1 to 2 was rejected. In detail, the interaction terms of Model 3 showed that horizontal communication X trust has a statistically significant effect on job performance, but top-down communication X trust and bottom-up communication X trust had no moderating effect. So hypothesis 2 to 1 and hypothesis 2 to 2 were rejected, and hypothesis 2 to 3 was adopted. And this is table 4. This study was to empirically investigate the relationship between organizational communication, trust, and tax officials' job performance. This is considered to have a great practical meaning in that it provides implications for enhancing the job performance of tax organizations. First, organizational communication factors affecting job performance were top-down communication and horizontal communication, and bottom-up communication was not significant. So hypothesis 1 to 1 and hypothesis 1 to 3 were supported except hypothesis 1 to 2. These results show that top-down communication and horizontal communication has a positive effect on job performance. This is consistent with the result of previous studies that the top-down communication and horizontal communication had a wide positive effect on job performance in the existing studies. Second, the main effect was significant in the moderating regression analysis that trust would control the relationship between organizational communication factors, top-down, bottom-up, horizontal, and job performance, but only horizontal communication was supported in the term of interaction. This means that the more smooth the horizontal communication in the text organization, the higher the trust. It is true that progress of some tax affairs is performed individually. However, since the team system joint handled most related duties and maintained the organizational relationship among the officials, horizontal communication can form a network between colleagues and departments in the organization, resolve problems and conflicts in the work, and increase the performance. Therefore, in order to increase the job performance of the members of the organization in the tax organization, mutual trust between leaders and the subordinates should be built up, and subordinates creatively should be induced and promoted through horizontal communication. And furthermore, their creative ideas should be linked to the development of excellent cooperativeness. And that's all the article. Thanks for your listening.